It was snowing the night Amelia and Milo vanished. Soft flakes settling on the empty driveway like ash. Lucas Hale stood in the doorway, keys in hand, staring at the silent house. No laughter, no lights, no scent of Amelia's clove tea or Milo's bubblegum shampoo. Just an awful, pressing stillness. He thought maybe they were out. Grocery run, maybe a walk. But the hours dragged into night, and the voicemail he left, "Hey Em, call me back. Where are you guys?" blinked back at him until the battery died. Inside, nothing was missing. Coats still hung on their hooks, shoes by the door, Amelia's favorite sweater folded on the armchair. Even Milo's favorite dinosaur mug sat on the kitchen counter, half full of cocoa. The marshmallows melted into a tan skin. Lucas called the police just after midnight. There's no sign of forced entry, the officer had said, his eyes scanning the neat living room. No struggle, nothing broken. She took her purse, phone, and the boy's backpack. Lucas's voice cracked. "So what are you saying? That she just left, with our son, without a note?" The officer didn't flinch. Maybe she felt unsafe. Maybe she needed space. Has there been tension lately? He wanted to scream. Instead, he handed them a photo. The three of them last summer, smiling on the coast. Amelia's arm wrapped around him. Milo sitting on his shoulders, laughing. "No," Lucas whispered. "She loved me." In the days that followed, he plastered the city with flyers. Talked to neighbors, cafes, shelters, anyone who might have seen a woman with auburn hair and a little boy with a chipped front tooth and a crooked smile. He scoured Amelia's social media, Milo's school contacts, even message boards. Nothing. Christmas came and went. Lucas spent it staring at the blinking lights of the tree they never took down. He replayed their last night like a loop tape in his mind. Amelia folding laundry on the couch, Milo drawing space rockets on the floor. "You're working late again," she had asked softly, not accusing. "Just tired." "Just 2 more nights this week," Lucas replied, kissing her temple. "After that, I'm all yours, promise." She didn't answer, but she leaned into him. That was the last time he held her. The insomnia crept in like rot. Some nights, Lucas wandered the house barefoot, pausing at Milo's empty bed, listening for phantom laughter. He left the voicemail light blinking for weeks, afraid that if he erased them, he'd erase her. By February, he stopped shaving. In March, he lost his job. In April, the detective handling the case transferred. By June, no one returned his calls. He still couldn't accept the idea that Amelia chose to vanish, that she would do that to Milo, to him. They weren't perfect. They were solid, weren't they? One evening, Lucas sat at the edge of Milo's bed, holding a sock he'd found wedged behind the dresser. Tiny fabric had a cartoon astronaut stitched into the heel. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. A random notification. YouTube recommended a new video. He opened it absently, needing background noise to drown out his thoughts. The video was vlog, bright, fast-paced, chaotic. A travel influencer filming a food market somewhere in Mexico. Lucas didn't register anything until the 2:17 mark, when a small figure ran through the frame behind the vlogger's shoulder. A child, wearing blue hoodie. Very specific blue hoodie, Milo's, with the hand-stitched green dinosaur Amelia had sewn over the tear in the back. Lucas paused the screen, rewound, froze it again. His fingers trembled. He zoomed in. The boy turned briefly, just enough. Milo, Lucas's heart slammed in his chest. Blood roared in his ears. He wasn't crazy. He wasn't alone. They were out there. Lucas barely slept that night. Couldn't. The image haunted him. Grainy. Paused at the exact second Milo's face turned toward the camera. It was only for a breath, but it was enough. The hoodie was unmistakable. Faded navy. The same frayed cuffs, the hand-sewn green dinosaur, its smile crooked from Amelia's imperfect stitching, grin from the back. He stared at the screen for hours, took screenshots, compared it to old photos. It was identical. Not similar. Identical. And if that was Milo, then Amelia was with him. He scrolled to the video's description. Creator's name was Jacob Travelko, a bright-eyed vlogger with 2 million subscribers, who documented street food and beach bars. Lucas clicked into the profile and combed through everything. Video posted 3 days ago. Location tagged, Oaxaca, Mexico. Lucas's fingers hovered above the keyboard. He found an email under the contact section and typed without thinking. Subject: Urgent missing child in your video. My name is Lucas Hale. I believe my missing son is visible in the background of your recent Oaxaca street market vlog. Please respond. I'm begging you. I've attached photos for reference. This could be the break in our case. He stared at the message. His hands trembled as he hit send. Then he waited, and waited. By morning, there was no reply, no read. Nothing. Lucas tried messaging him on Instagram, Twitter, even commenting on recent videos. Please, that child is my son. Please contact me. This is real. I'm not a troll. I'm a father. I'm losing my mind. Still nothing. He printed the screenshot and drove to the police department. Sat across from the same detective who once handled the case. YouTube footage isn't enough, she said flatly, pushing the paper back. Kids wear dinosaur hoodies all the time. Lucas's jaw tightened. Not that hoodie. My wife sewed a dinosaur herself. Look at the stitching. Even if it is your son, he's not in danger. And your wife has full custody rights. She can travel with him. Lucas shot up from his chair. Trembling with rage, she disappeared. She vanished. Doesn't that mean anything to anyone? The detective folded her arms. Maybe she left for a reason you refuse to acknowledge. Lucas stormed out, hollow and shaking. That night, he posted his own video. Sat in front of a laptop camera with dark eyes and a voice on the edge of breaking. My name is Lucas Hale. 6 months ago, my wife and son vanished. The police gave up. The world forgot. But I found them. I know what I saw, and I'm not crazy. He showed the screenshot, shared photos, pleaded for help. The internet reacted with cruel speed. Dude's delusional. Nice try, bro. Go to therapy. Poor kid probably escaped you. The comments crushed what little hope he had left, except for one. A private message, no name. Just, that kid looks like he was at the Plaza Market in Puerto Escondido too. Saw him with a woman. She had a straw hat. Looked nervous. Lucas stared at the message for a long time. Then he opened a travel site. His fingers hovered over the flight options. He didn't have a plan, but he had a lead. Lucas packed light, just backpack with clothes, copies of the screenshot, and the old photo of Milo smiling on his 3rd birthday. Airline clerk barely looked at his ID. No one questioned why a man with sunken eyes and a twitch in his hands was flying across borders, with no return ticket. In the waiting area, Lucas opened the message again. Plaza Market, woman, straw hat, that was it. No name, no timestamp, just a digital whisper from a stranger who might have seen his son. He landed in Oaxaca late the next evening. The air was warm and fragrant with spice and smoke, but Lucas noticed none of it. Every child he passed, every flash of a blue hoodie, twisted his gut like wire. At the market, he played the video again, over and over. He walked in circles until the stalls began closing, asking locals in broken Spanish if they had seen a woman. The little boy most shook their heads. A few eyed him with suspicion. Back at his hostel, Lucas scoured the vlogger's recent posts again. Nothing. He messaged the guy one more time, longer this time, more desperate. I'm not trying to harass you. Just need a timestamp. Anything, please. You have no idea what it's like to live in this kind of silence. Still no response. The next morning, Lucas went to the local police. He showed the screenshot, the missing person report, the translated version of Amelia's profile. There's no legal case, the officer told him in halting English. She's the mother. There is no danger. We cannot help unless there is crime. Lucas's face burned. It is a crime. She disappeared, took him and ran. The officer shrugged. Then why did she not ask you to follow? The words hit harder. He expected. 3 days passed. No sign of them, no leads. Lucas slept in broken fragments and ate whatever he could find from nearby carts. His mind swam with questions. Why here? Why now? Was she hiding from him or from someone else? He posted the screenshot again, Reddit, Facebook, even local expat groups. One message came back. Stop. You're going to scare her into hiding again. Maybe that's the point. Back in Portland, his landlord left a voicemail saying his rent was overdue. His bank account was nearly empty. His sister called again. "Lucas, this has to stop." He left. Okay, maybe she had a reason. Maybe you need to look in the mirror instead of chasing ghosts across countries. Lucas stared at the cracked screen, breathing hard. He didn't respond. Instead, he pinned the screenshot to the hostel wall. Drew a red circle round the boy. Below it, in shaky handwriting, "I know what I saw." The sun beat down hard over the Oaxaca Market Square, but Lucas barely felt it. He'd been sitting on a stone bench for hours, staring at the crowd with glassy, sleep-starved eyes. Vendors called out, tourists passed in colorful blurs. But he was locked in scanning every mother, every child, every possible blue hoodie. A girl with a balloon, a toddler holding a juice box, a boy wearing a Spider-Man cap. Not Milo. Never Milo. He had just begun to doubt himself. Maybe it wasn't Milo in the video. Maybe he'd finally cracked when he saw her. Not her face. Just the hat, wide-brimmed, straw, tilted low over her eyes. The kind of hat Amelia always said made her look like someone escaping a film set. And beside her a boy, 5, maybe 6. He was holding her hand, half walking, half skipping beside. Lucas stood so fast he nearly knocked over a vendor's cart. He couldn't see the boy's face, but the hoodie, dear God, the hood peeked out beneath the collar of the child's jacket. The dinosaur. He took off after them. He weaved through tourists and street musicians, knocking shoulders and stepping over crates of mangoes. The woman and boy turned a corner, disappeared behind a wall of people. Lucas turned the corner, breathless. Nothing. Gone. No, 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 he muttered, heart hammering. He darted down the alley, looked left, right, nothing but strangers. Stray dogs. He stopped running, pressed his hands to his knees and tried to breathe. Then someone tapped his shoulder. Lucas spun around fast. A man stood there, American accent, early 30s, GoPro on his chest. "Hey, you okay?" Lucas blinked. "You're Jake Travelko." The vlogger hesitated. Yeah." Lucas reached into his bag, pulled out the printed screenshot, held it out like a badge. "This boy. From your video. It's my son. I swear." "God, it's him." Jake glanced at the paper. "Man, I've had like 50 messages about this. Thought it was a prank." "It's not," Lucas snapped. "I saw them. Just now. She was wearing a hat. He had the hoodie. They were here." Jake lowered his camera. "Okay, look, I don't want to get involved in anything dangerous. Not trained for that. I don't need trained. I need eyes, someone to help me track them down." Jake looked over his shoulder, then back at Lucas. "What's the story, man?" Lucas took a breath. "My wife and son disappeared 6 months ago. Everyone thinks she left me, that I'm crazy. But they're here. I just need to prove it." A long pause. Jake looked at the market, then at the screen on his GoPro. Finally, he nodded. "All right. You've got 24 hours. That's all I can give." Lucas almost cried. "Thank you." They returned the next morning. Jake helped scan the crowds with his camera. They asked vendors if the woman came by regularly. One said yes. "She comes every other day. Wears the same hat. Never talks. Boy likes the caramel nuts." Lucas's voice shook. "When was she here last?" The vendor thought. "Yesterday, which means maybe tomorrow." Lucas sat down, lightheaded. Jake placed a bottle of water beside him. "She's real." Lucas whispered. "They're here." For the first time in half a year, someone didn't call him crazy. They waited. Another full day, then another. The market bustled with color and sound, but Amelia never came. The woman with the straw hat had vanished again, as if she sensed him nearby. Lucas felt the panic crawling back. Maybe he scared her. Maybe she saw him chase her and ran. Sat outside the vendor's stall for hours, teeth grinding, mind spiraling. Jake, now filming less and watching more, suggested they try something else. "There's a hostel a few blocks from here," he said. "Cheap, lots of single travelers. She's hiding. Maybe that's where she's staying." Lucas didn't hesitate. They walked straight there. The hostel lobby smelled of incense and old citrus peels. Behind the desk sat a woman with a pierced lip and sunburned cheeks, flipping through a book. Lucas stepped forward, nervous. "Hi, I'm trying to find someone. I think she stayed here recently with a child. The woman raised an eyebrow. Don't give out guest info. He placed the printed screenshot on the desk. Please, her name might be Amelia Hale, or she might have used a fake name. The woman studied the photo. Her eyes softened just slightly. I think I've seen them. Lucas's chest tightened. Do you remember her name? The woman hesitated, then turned the guest book around and tapped a line. Elena Ward, room 12. Checked in 2 weeks ago. Stayed 5 days. Paid in cash. Lucas stared at the name Elena. Amelia's middle name. Ward her mother's maiden name. It had to be her. She left already. The clerk nodded. Said they were going to Zippolite. Quiet beach town, 3 hours south. Did she say why? She didn't say anything, the woman replied. Honestly, or she looked scared. Lucas sat outside the hostel in the heat, mind reeling. She changed her name, lied about who she was, hid from everyone. Even me. Jake sat beside him. You okay, man? Lucas didn't answer right away. He reached into his backpack and pulled out a drawing. Milo's drawing, found weeks ago under his bed. Rockets, stars, a family holding hands. It still smelled faintly like crayons. She didn't just leave, Lucas whispered. She erased herself. Jake was quiet. Then, so what now, Lucas? Folded the drawing carefully and stood. Now we go to Zippolite. Zippolite was nothing like Lucas expected. The beach stretched for miles, wild and golden under a burning sky. Small, colorful homes lined the coast. Tourists lounged under palm frond. Umbrellas. To Lucas, everything felt wrong, like a dream set in a place he wasn't meant to find. They arrived just before sunset. Jake dropped him off outside a small grocery shack and pointed toward the beachside rentals. She could be anywhere. Anne, if you're sure you're ready. Lucas nodded, jaw tight. I have to be. It was the child's laugh that stopped him. Not a scream, not a cry. Just a laugh, light and bubbling, like bubbles escaping a bottle. Lucas turned toward the sound and froze, a small boy, brown curls bouncing. His hoodie sleeves tied around his waist, ran past a garden gate, holding a toy plane. Behind him, a woman stepped out. Her back was to Lucas. She wore a loose dress, a book in one hand. Her hair was dyed black, cut shorter than Amelia ever wore it. But the way she bent to scoop up the toy, he would have known her blind. Amelia. Lucas single quotes S knees almost gave out. His fingers dug into the fence. Milo, he whispered it, barely audible, but she turned. Their eyes met across the street. For a second, the world stopped. Amelia didn't scream. She didn't run. She simply froze, the color draining from her face. Her lips parted, but no words came. Milo didn't notice. He was too busy zooming his plane across invisible skies. Later, Lucas would never fully remember how he got there. Just that he was at the gate, that Amelia stepped in front of the door like a shield, that she said his name like a knife to the chest. Lucas. His throat closed. Why, Em? Why would you do this to me, to us? Don't. Her voice cracked. Don't say us. That was broken long before I left. He blinked. You didn't even say goodbye. You wouldn't have let me. You would have convinced me I was crazy like always. Lucas stepped closer. He's our son. You stole him. I saved him. Her voice rose. From you. From your control. Your manipulation. He shook his head violently. That's not what happened. That's not who I was. You didn't hit me, Lucas, but you made me feel like I was always wrong. Always hysterical. You made me second guess my own memory, and I couldn't let Milo grow up thinking that was love. Lucas's hands trembled. I loved you. I still do. Amelia looked at him like she was mourning something long buried. You loved being needed, not me. She didn't let him inside, but she didn't call the police either. She stood there, guarding the doorway, while Milo ran around laughing, blissfully unaware. Lucas begged, just let me talk to him. She hesitated. Then slowly, she called out, Milo, sweetheart, someone's here to say hi. The boy came running. He stared up at Lucas with curiosity. Hi, he said shyly. Do I know you? Lucas's breath caught. I'm a friend of your mom's, from before. Milo smiled. Okay. He ran back toward the garden. Amelia's eyes burned. That's all you get. Now leave. Lucas backed away slowly, but he saw it just for a flicker how Her hands shook. How her eyes glistened. She hadn't stopped loving him, but she would never come back. Lucas didn't sleep that night. He sat on a low wall facing the ocean, the wind whipping at his shirt, the waves crashing like a heartbeat he couldn't slow. She'd been right there, real, alive, changed. She looked healthier, stronger, hardened. Not the woman who used to cry in the pantry, not the one who flinched when he raised his voice even slightly. He remembered those moments differently, he told himself. They were normal. Stress, life, everyone fought. Everyone got tired. But she remembered terror. She had chosen flight. Lucas wandered back to the rental house the next day when he knew Amelia would be gone. He watched from across the street as she and Milo disappeared down the hill toward the beach. He circled around the back. The sliding door was unlocked. He stepped into their world. The inside was modest but bright, walls painted coral and yellow. Paper stars strung from the ceiling. Children's books lined a crate in the corner. The fridge was covered in Milo's drawings. Lucas recognized the slanted stars and clumsy rockets. He ran his hand over one taped to the door, a stick figure family. Just two people. Woman and a boy. No dad. He found the phone in the bedroom mold, screen cracked, shoved in a drawer under layers of clothes. It was dead, but Lucas carried a portable charger. He waited, watched the screen flicker to life. There was only one saved voice memo, dated for months ago. He pressed play. If you're hearing this, Lucas, I'm sorry. I don't know if I'll ever send it, but I need to say it out loud. I didn't leave because I hated you. I left because you convinced me I didn't exist. Every time I cried, you told me I was too sensitive. Every time I got scared, you laughed like I was crazy. I started to believe it, but Milo saw everything. He saw me shrink, and I couldn't let him grow up learning that love meant silence, that love meant erasing yourself. So I left. I didn't know if I'd make it, but I had to try, for him, maybe. Even for you. Lucas sat down on the bed, gripping the phone like it was cutting him. He didn't remember it that way, but he couldn't argue. Not anymore. There were footsteps outside. Laughter. He slipped out through the back, heart pounding. He made it to the street before he dared look back. Through the curtain, Milo danced to some music. Amelia watched him with the kind of smile Lucas hadn't seen on her face in years. Open, unguarded. She wasn't hiding anymore. She was free. And for the first time, Lucas understood. She hadn't just escaped him. She'd escaped the version of herself he made her become. The next morning, Lucas sat in the courtyard of a cheap cafe, staring into his untouched coffee. His hands trembled not from caffeine, but from the voice in his head that sounded an awful lot like Amelia's recording. He'd listened to it for more times overnight. Each word chipped away at the narrative he had built for 6 painful months. One where he was the victim, where he was just a heartbroken husband, not a man who'd broken someone in ways words couldn't measure. Across from him, Jake scrolled his phone. You all right, man? You look hollow. Lucas didn't answer. Just looked past him, to the end of the road where Amelia's rental house stood behind a garden of bougainvillea. I broke her, Lucas whispered. I didn't even realize it. That evening, as the sun began to fall, Lucas returned to the market to give them space. He bought Milo's favorite sweet nuts from the vendor, sat on a bench and watched the people blur by. When he got back to the house, something was wrong. The front door was open. Lucas's heart jerked into motion. He rushed up the steps, calling, Amelia, Milo, no answer. The inside was trashed. Drawers pulled out, cushions thrown to the floor. A broken plate lay shattered near the sink. And then, don't move. Lucas spun. A police officer stepped from behind the hallway, hand resting on his holster. Amelia was beside him, pale, furious, eyes red from crying. Milo was gone. Where's my son? Lucas barked, panic overriding everything. Amelia's voice trembled with controlled fury. Gone. Somewhere safe. We had to call them, said the officer. The neighbors reported someone breaking in yesterday. She saw you again today. You've been following her. Lucas shook his head. I didn't hurt anyone. I just wanted answers. Then why were you inside her home yesterday? Silence. Amelia stepped forward, her voice colder than the ocean wind. You've followed us long enough. You don't have to show up, break in, and act like you deserve something. Lucas turned to her, broken. I just wanted to know if any of it was real. She blinked slowly. It was. Once. But I'm not that woman anymore. And you're not the man I believed in. Later, at the police station, Lucas sat in a folding chair, hands cuffed loosely in front of him. The officer handed him a restraining order. You'll be deported in 24 hours. You're not to contact her again. Lucas signed it without speaking. But they took him out to the holding room. He looked over his shoulder. Amelia stood in the hallway, watching through the glass, not with hatred, not with fear, with heartbreak, because some escapes come with wounds that never close. Lucas sat alone in his dark apartment in Portland, deported, humiliated, cut off. 3 weeks had passed since he returned. His passport lay on the kitchen counter, beside unopened bills and eviction notices. The couch he once shared with Amelia now sagged like a memory. He hadn't heard a word since. No call, no message, no updates on Milo. He tried to obey the restraining order, but his mind refused to rest. Something still didn't make sense. She wasn't just afraid of him. She was afraid of something else. It was a gut feeling, splinter in the back of his mind. So he did what he hadn't wanted to do. He reached out to a private investigator, Clara Baird, former federal agent, quiet, sharp-eyed, and brutally honest. She didn't ask if Lucas was guilty. She just asked for details. Lucas gave her everything: photos, timelines, old texts. The name Amelia had used, Elena Ward. She called him days later. You're not going to like what I found. Amelia hadn't just vanished from his life. She had reported someone else 6 months before leaving. A man named Dr. Remy Sloan, a licensed therapist she had been seeing alone. And then with Lucas briefly for anxiety and trauma, she had filed a formal complaint against him with the state board, and then dropped it days later. That report vanished under strange circumstances, Clara said. The clinic claimed there was insufficient evidence, but Amelia stopped working, stopped using her email, pulled Milo from school, then disappeared entirely. That's not someone hiding from a husband. That's someone running for their life. Lucas swallowed hard. She never told me. Maybe she tried. Maybe you didn't want to hear it. Lucas closed his eyes. Last couples session they'd attended flashed in his mind. Sloan had smiled too much, asked questions that felt invasive, off, and Amelia had left in tears. He had told her she was overreacting. God. Clara kept digging. Sloan had a record of formal warnings. 3 female patients filed complaints about boundary violations. Nothing criminal yet, but a pattern, a predator who knew how to wear a mask. Clara sent Lucas one more file. Blurred photo taken at a resort in southern Mexico, dated a week ago. Remy Sloan. In the background, barely visible, a child playing in the sand. Milo. Lucas single quotes as hands went ice cold. She hadn't been hiding from him. She'd used him as cover, left him looking like the threat. So the real monster would never think to look past him. But now he had, and he had found them. Lucas hadn't breathed right since seeing the photo. Dr. Remy Sloan. On a beach, in the same country where Amelia was hiding. He tried to think rationally. Maybe it was coincidence. Maybe the photo was old, but the timestamp was fresh, a week ago. Milo's profile in the background wasn't a coincidence. The dread crawled under his skin like something alive. Clara wasn't surprised when Lucas called her in a panic. If she sees him, she'll bolt again, she said calmly. But he's already watching them. She may not get that chance. Lucas gripped the edge of his desk, knuckles white. We have to warn her. You can't, Clara reminded him. Restraining order. Any contact, and you're done. I don't care. I do, she snapped. Because you've already been made out as the threat. She thinks she brought him. She'll vanish into the wind. And next time, she won't stop to explain. Lucas sat back, silent. Let me handle this, Clara said after a moment. I know people down there. If Sloan is there, I'll find him. And if Amelia is still with the boy, I'll warn her. Discreetly, Lucas nodded slowly, swallowing his pride. Okay, do it. 3 days passed. No word. Lucas barely left the apartment. He ignored calls, forgot to eat, stopped checking clock. On the 4th day, Clara finally called. He's staying under the name Ray Sanders. Same man, same eyes, different name. She sent a photo grainy, zoomed in, taken from a rooftop cafe. Sloan, now Ray, smiling down at his phone on a sun lounger. He's booked at a private villa in Mazunti, 15 minutes from where Amelia was last seen. Lucas's chest tightened, and Amelia, still there. Still using Elena Ward. Still doesn't know she's being watched. Lucas's breath hitched. He's hunting her. Looks like it. That night, Lucas couldn't stop shaking. The memory of Amelia's voice on that recording echoed over. I couldn't let Milo grow up thinking love meant silence. But if Sloan reached her before Clara did, if she felt cornered again, what would Amelia do? Run? Fight? Break? Lucas stared at a map of Oaxaca, zoomed in on the coast. Towns, the roads. She was there. So was Milo. And so was the man who made her vanish. Meanwhile, Clara moved quickly. She reached out to a local contact, a woman who had worked in the hospitality scene for years. Someone who knew who checked in, who checked out, and who shouldn't. There at all. The next day, she got a hit. Amelia had been spotted. Grocery store. Same boy. Same hat. Sloan had been seen nearby that same day, watching. Not interacting. Just watching, like a wolf, patient and smiling. Lucas stared at the final message Clara sent. It's happening. She just doesn't know it yet. And then, if she runs again, she may not survive it this time. Lucas sat in the dark, gripping his phone like it was the only thing anchoring him to the world. Clara's last message kept repeating in his head. If she runs again, she may not survive it this time. Couldn't sleep, couldn't sit still. Every cell in his body screamed at him to do something. He knew it was dangerous. He knew he was legally barred from contacting her. But law didn't matter anymore. Milo mattered. Amelia mattered. And he would not fail them again. He booked a flight to Oaxaca that night. No hesitation this time. Clara called him the moment she saw the ticket confirmation. Lucas, what are you doing? I'm going back. You'll ruin everything. I'm this close to getting Amelia out. We've got a contact arranging safe housing. You showing up will make her think you led Sloan to her. Lucas's voice cracked. But I didn't. And he's right there. Clara, I can't sit here while she gets hurt again. Milo, and if you walk in there, and she panics and runs again, what then? Lucas paused. Then I find her again, and again, until I make it right. Silence. Then Clara sighed. If you're going to be reckless, at least don't be stupid. Let me coordinate. You stay out of sight until I tell you otherwise. He nodded, agreed. He arrived in Mazunti 2 days later. Everything looked too calm for what was happening. Kids played in the surf. Couples kissed under palapas. But Lucas saw shadows in everything. Every man in sunglasses could be Sloan. Every car that slowed was a threat. He checked into a nameless guest house under the alias Ben Walker and waited. Clara sent updates. Amelia was still there, still unaware. Milo had a fever the day before, so she'd stayed close to their bungalow. Sloan had been spotted at a cafe nearby watching. Always watching. Never approaching. Lucas asked, why hasn't he done anything? Clara replied, he wants control. He wants her to see him, panic, crumble. That's how predators like him feed. On the 4th night, Clara called. She saw him. Lucas froze. What did she do? She didn't run. She stared for 5 seconds, then walked the other way, holding Milo's hand like iron. But I could tell her hands were shaking. Lucas stood. I have to go to her. No, give me 2 more hours. Finalizing safe passage to a women's shelter in Guatemala. No paper trail, new IDs. After that, she'll be gone for real this time. Even you won't know where. Lucas swallowed hard. And Milo, safe, but only if she gets out clean. Lucas sat back down, heart cracking. He wouldn't see them again, not for years, maybe ever. He stared at a street vendor carving small wooden animals, a dinosaur. Lucas bought it without thinking, ran his thumb over the painted smile. 2 hours later, Clara sent one last text. They're leaving at dawn. Everything's ready. Make sure she knows the truth about Sloan. About you, too. Lucas didn't respond. He couldn't. Instead, he walked to the edge of the beach, dug a hole in the sand, and buried the wooden dinosaur a goodbye only he would ever understand. The beach was empty at dawn. Only the waves moved soft, rhythmic, disinterested in the storm that had passed quietly through the town during the night. Lucas stood near the road, hidden behind a row of palms. He watched without blinking as a small white van rolled up to the edge of the dirt path. Near the rental cottages, the engine idled. Then the door opened. Amelia stepped out first, holding a worn backpack. Her hat was gone, her hair loose and wind-blown. She looked different, older, leaner, and yet, for the first time since she vanished, alive. Milo followed sleepily, clinging to her side. Lucas's heart clenched. He didn't move, didn't breathe. He simply watched. Another woman stepped out. A social worker Clara had arranged, someone trained in helping people disappear for good. She whispered something to Amelia. Amelia nodded once, then turned around and looked back at the little house behind her. No regret, no second-guessing, just stillness. Lucas leaned forward, just slightly, and his shoe crushed a dry twig. Snap. Amelia turned. Her eyes swept across trees, pausing just for a breath on the place where Lucas stood hidden. She didn't flinch, didn't call out. She simply looked. And then, so slowly it could have been imagined, she gave the smallest nod. Not forgiveness, not permission, but acknowledgement. Then she turned back, took Milo's hand, and vanished into the van. Lucas stood there long after the vehicle disappeared. He didn't cry, not this time. There was nothing left to mourn, only a promise. Weeks passed. Returned to Portland. Life resumed in fragments, quiet, small, hollow. He got a job at a shipping warehouse. No one there asked about his past. At night, he sat in the same apartment, staring at the photo of Milo he kept taped inside his wallet. And some nights, when the silence pressed into loud, he played the voice memo Amelia never meant for him. Here, maybe you didn't hit me, Lucas, but I still bled. Just quietly. One day, an envelope arrived. No return address. Inside was a photo, a beach, a boy with curly hair playing in the sand, a woman reading under an umbrella. On the back, he's happy. That's all that matters. Lucas stared at the handwriting for a long time. It was unmistakable. She had found a way to let him know they were safe, and he had kept his word. Years later, on a different coast, a young boy walked into a bookstore with his mother. He was taller now, his curls longer, and he wore a blue hoodie. The small green dinosaur stitched into the sleeve. They passed a man shelving books. Tired eyes, quiet hands, the kind of man no one notices anymore. The boy glanced at him. Their eyes met briefly, neither said a word. But in that look, something passed. A flicker of recognition, a ghost of a connection. And then the boy was gone again. Vanished. But this time, it was okay.